Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another Gifted Hoops podcast, and I'm joined here today by the one and the only Sean Davis. Does a lot of great work around the Los Angeles Lakers. Also, just a pretty good basketball mind. I'm excited to have this conversation. How are you feeling today, Sean?
I'm doing good, bro. Thanks for having me on and excited to do this. This should be fun.
Yeah. So it's been a while, but I normally do these where every team I do a hour on in our offseason because things change all the time. And I think the Lakers are definitely a very interesting team. They're still, I would say, one of the most popular teams in the league. A lot of haters, a lot of stands, a lot going on. I wanted to have this conversation with you because to me, I think this is a bridge year for the Lakers in terms of where this team can really go. A lot of crazy things have happened, but it's such a far cry from last offseason where you had LeBron James, you had Anthony Davis on this team. What were the expectations for you personally headed into last season?
So, how I view expectations for each team is I do a preseason power ranking series where each team gets their own episode. Each team is like the shortest episode is like 40 minutes. It was the Nets. Objectively, not a lot to talk about with the Nets heading into last season. Um, and they get ranked and they eventually get put into tiers as well. It's like tier one title favorites. That was for me, Boston, OKC heading into last year, or title contenders, not quite title favorites, or frisky title contenders. Like if everything goes right, then they could potentially compete for a title. Not to pat myself on the back, I had the Pacers in that tier, and one game away from winning a title. I will take credit. That's where I had the Lakers at personally last season. Like if a everything went right scenario, you have Braun, you have AD. I thought the Austin year 4 leap was kind of predictable, especially just based off how JJ was talking about Austin heading into last season. So, like, for my expectations, it's not the most likely outcome. If anything, what we saw is probably okay. It's unfair because the AD trade happened, but you get what I'm saying. Like, what
Yeah.
the eventual outcome was the more likely outcome compared to them winning a title, but if everything went right, they could have won a title. So that was my expectation heading into last season at the very least.
Well, for me, I didn't know how to view the Lakers team. It always felt like the lack of offensive explosion from the other surrounding pieces compared to like your main three players was going to be a problem. I also felt like the POA defense consistently was another thing, but I felt like their proven way to win in the past was LeBron James, Anthony Davis with a bunch of wings around them and guys who can knock down shots. This team didn't like consistently have this in doses and also had a lot of players just straight up not playing. I mean, how many games did we see Vandal just not really be there for, right? So I was questioning how good this team was. And then mid-season, Anthony Davis is asking for another big, which to me, hey, it makes sense. Anthony Davis is the best when there's another big there. And then a week later, he gets traded for
He
Luka
gets traded.
Doncic. And I'm still trying to like process how
Where were
that's a
you at when
trade
that
that happened.
happened?
Oh, I listen, that is a day I'll never forget. I was up late at night. I was playing a hit game, Marvel Rivals.
Elite
Um,
game.
yes, I was playing a soup like it was a lot going on. And it's like my one rank up game, and I'm playing it. And he's like, oh no, he got traded. And I lost the game because I was so blown away by the fact that it actually happened. Luka Doncic is a guy that I thought would be like a year long, I would say, player over and over and over for his franchise. And they traded him for Anthony Davis. And the fact that you didn't have to give up many other picks involved with that. I I just still cannot get over that. How did that make you feel as a fan?
I was driving when the trade happened. I was coming back from a game. I'm a high school basketball coach. So I was coming back super late night. It was like a 2 hour drive. So I'm dropping off a player, and mid car ride, I get a phone call. Somebody says, "Bro, AD got traded." I'm like, "You're capping." Get off my phone. It's like 11:30. I'm ready to go to sleep. Um, and then I text one person I know that like would really know that's inside the team. They say, yeah, it's real. I had to park the car for a legit 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, look, so we can get home safely. Let me park the car and give me a few minutes. Um, the AD trade is interesting. The Luka trade rather is interesting. If I get it. The funny thing about the Luka trade actually is that because of how good Luka is and how much people like look at Dallas kind of crazy for doing the deal. It's almost like people underrate AD now. I think where I get the age, I get some of the other stuff, and in any other deal they get every single draft pick imaginable. But like AD's in his own right, a top 10 player, top. We'll go top 12. If you have some conversations about health with him and a few other players. So when the trade happened, I was ecstatic. You got Luka, you got the next 10 years of Laker basketball in theory if they don't somehow manage to screw it up. In the short term, it was like you probably get a little worse. Probably that was my initial thoughts. You probably get a little worse because you lose a all-world level defender. You lose your best point of attack option by a landslide. Like I would say, my second reaction was, "Yay, we got Luka." My second reaction was, dang, am I able to cuss?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, damn, we couldn't trade Don't Connect over Max Christie. We had to give them Max Christie, because Max in theory is like the perfect like number like 2 guard. I almost said number 2, but just 2 guard in general to put next to Luka, in my opinion, at least can guard 1 through 3, can knock down catch, shoot threes, and play off the catch. Like that is. Hold up, bro. Asked the cuss and said, "Damn, my bad." No, all seriousness. So that was my initial reaction to the Luka trade.
Yeah, I saw the reactions from many passionate Lakers fans, and a lot of people were just completely shocked. Like this is still, I would say, one of the craziest, if not the biggest trade I've seen because everyone said Shams got hacked. Like everyone that I know said initially, Shams is hacked. This is not real. Someone has power over his account because there's no way Luka is being traded in general, but for the return that they had. And then once we saw the news of how the trade happened, where it started off as a joke at a coffee shop, like that's the beginning of this, right? And then we turn it into a actual trade. For me personally, I felt like this trade was to give the Lakers a sense of player direction moving forward. I always said that, like, I like Anthony Davis. I think he's a very good player. I don't think he gets enough respect. But at the same time, I don't think that by himself he's able to floor raise a team's complete offense like a Luka Doncic, like, like, I just don't think that that's like his main role. I think he's one of the best play guys ever in terms of like completing plays consistently on both ends of the floor. So to me, trading him for Luka to me was like basically a franchise reset, which was weird because you have LeBron James who's literally 40. I can't believe I'm saying that. A guy that is 40 years old that is still like a top 10 to 15 player still in the league. So to me, doing this trade, I felt like was to really sacrifice the short-term window to extend it longer in the best world. But then, ironically, once you make the trade, I see LeBron James play at a much higher level, number one. And the defense of the Lakers as a whole, without Anthony Davis, was actually pretty solid. So
for like a month.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, is this fool's goal? Like what does new head coach, first time ever, what is JJ doing to make this defense so crazy? And then the more and more and more that I watch, I'm like, okay, but how sustainable are a bit of these things? And then we see Luka play a little bit of, I would say, better basketball, but he still wasn't the one that I know him to be. How did that make you feel? Just like, okay, we traded our best overall defensive player and our defense got better. Just in that month, at least. How did that make you feel?
It was weird. And I think every logical Laker fan was also asking most of those same questions. Like, all right, this is fun. We're going to enjoy the hell out of these 31 games or whatever. But how sustainable is this? Can this be replicated in a playoff setting? And there were some things that I thought were decently replicable. We didn't see them, but I thought there were a couple things that, given the right matchup, could have been replicated. You just faced the one guy that just shreds basically every POA defender in the league, an Ant. And it's not like the Lakers have a plethora of options either to just throw at them. And just to, we're not going to get to that quite yet. Anywho, I think there was a lot of stuff about that run that was a little bit luck too. Like their 3-point shooting luck in that stretch was noticeably like overwhelmingly positive for them. That was the biggest part, actually, that you look at like, this is cool and all, but in a month, I mean, maybe not literally a month, but you know what I'm saying? Like, eventually this is going to
Yeah.
like go back down and not be in your favor. And then what? I think the other underrated part, and this is maybe where I would attribute the most credit to, I thought Dorian had a good stretch. I thought they had some decent play from 1 through 10. This is easily the best stretch of Jackson Hayes' entire career, which also helped.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's the fact that Braun, for like really since the Luka trade, LeBron was a legitimately good defender for the rest of the year. Even the playoffs, I thought Braun was a net positive defensive player. Maybe not a good to great, but he was not a negative defender for the rest of the year. Whether it's his backline communication, his just his rebounding, his switching. He's not the vertical like help side rim protector anymore, but just the IQ, the awareness to, peel off certain stuff defensively. Like Braun was legitimately a really, really good defender for last 30 regular season games and like the playoffs. Like he was really good. In a regular season setting, Luka's actually a pretty decent team defender. He's an awful like one-on-one isolation defender, but away from the ball, Luka's also pretty fine. So I think that's really what that stretch was.
Yeah, I came in really astounded by overall what the numbers were. I was a bit concerned about like the transition defense. I feel like that was a thing that was plaguing the team just a tad bit. And in older playoffs past, yeah.
AD's an awful transition. That's the only thing that's stopping AD from legitimately being like the second or third best defender since 2000. It's the fact that he is a significantly worse transition defender and less motor than your Duncans, your KGs, or your Ben Wallaces, or even Draymond too. So like that's the biggest thing holding him back. I better cut you off.
Nah, that's all fine. But like that was the one thing that like I saw in, I would say, the Denver series and some more stuff. Like that was the one thing with them. I'm like, okay, that's not all the way great. But the thing for me that I really had to really hone in on was going into the playoffs, specifically like the consistency of the offensive creation and guys to like knock down shots. Austin Reeves to me is a very, very important player of this whole process, because to me, your idea would be to get the most out of him where there is no LeBron, or maybe there is no, Doncic out there. And I felt like he showed a lot of promise in the regular season, which is why for a lot of people coming into the playoffs, seeing that the matchup was the Wolves, I had asked myself, okay, do I trust Austin Reeves to be able to create consistent advantages against lengthy defensive players, both on and off the ball for the whole series? It felt harder for me to bank on that. I'm not a huge Randall supporter. I'm not. But I felt like this would be the one series where, okay, he's going to be good in this series. There's a lot of different types of advantages. What were your predictions before the series began? Because a lot of people said, I got the Lakers in 5. It's LeBron James, Luka Doncic. And then some said, I have the Wolves because they just have more depth. How did that make you feel?
I have Lakers at 6 with me being very close to being aggressive and saying Lakers in 5. The thing about Austin is, I'm going to give him some bail for the toe injury, really, because we kind of saw what it looked like for Darius Garland when he got back and when he was still playing through it. Going to give him some bail, but at the same time, man, like, okay, cool. I see somebody in the chat said this was easily Austin's worst matchup. I think OKC and Houston are also equally awful matchups. And if you're getting out of the West, how are you avoiding OKC, Houston, or Minnesota? So we're just banking on the fact that we're guaranteed to get one shitty Austin Reeves performance. No, that's like that's kind of like the tug and pull with the Austin Reeves conversation.
Yeah.
And it's also the second straight year where he's had at best a mediocre playoff series. I think last year Denver and this year Minnesota. I don't know why I blanked for 2.8 seconds. Last year Denver and this year Minnesota were both not horrendous, but pretty mediocre series. And if Austin Reeves is your third guy, he's your guy that you're going to pay all-star caliber money to,
Yeah.
you can't write off immediately in a playoff setting. You can't write him off rip and say, "Yep, we know we're going to get one awful series from you in the playoffs to get out of the West." Like you can't do that. I think the biggest thing that I didn't really I didn't account for is one. I thought matchup wise, no, the biggest thing that really pissed me off in the series was the fact that the Lakers were just conceding Luka switches with like 20 seconds in the shot clock. That was the dumbest thing ever to me. Luka is a bad defender, yes, but maybe it's just the coach in me. I'm like, you could do things to mitigate that at least a little bit. They were consistently telling Minnesota, hey, we know Luka's an awful defender on the ball. Go ahead. You could just attack said awful defender the entire game. And Ant was getting advantage after advantage with 17, 18 seconds in the shot clock. Your defense is automatically a rotation because you're just giving them the switch that they want off rip. That does nothing for you. And then the fact that Jackson Hayes was just so unplayable. I thought in game one, he probably deserved a little bit more run. But as the series went on, the worse he got. And they just had no other viable option, and that's how Rudy Gobert gets 27 and 24. So
still one of the crazy performances I've seen from Gobert in the playoffs in a closeout game at that. That was nuts to me.
Yeah.
I agree with most of your points largely. I think for me, the biggest thing that I would say has to pop out for me is like the length advantages that gave Austin trouble is one thing, but I also think that the way Luka was being guarded, like that team said, you know what, we don't want to give up advantages to them as much. So a lot of it was we're going to allow some of these plays to happen with Luka. He's going to score a ton, sure, but we want to take him out as a consistent playmaker. Now, a part of that is guys did not make shots. But I do feel like a part of it, as you said, was just how bad the front court depth for the Lakers was in the series. I know a lot of people are mad that he wound up not playing at all. I'm pretty sure in like game 5, I believe.
We're talking about Hayes, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I definitely think that there's a fair share of criticism there, but at the same time, their options were not good. Like, it's hard to justify them playing if the right play isn't going to consistently be made, and also if their defense is not very, very disciplined, you know? So it felt like a consistent pull and push that they had to do for the entire series, which is why I favored the Wolves before the playoffs began. Like the size and all that just felt like a lot to really, overcome, and I think that showed in those 5 games. I also think the tax that LeBron had to do on both ends was just not sustainable. He did a lot in these playoffs.
Yeah, they would have got cooked in the second round, probably.
Yeah.
Now, well, no, Steph maybe doesn't get hurt if he plays Lakers. So, yeah, and Bron also like sprained his MCL, so that just would have went well. The take I had about Luka, because you kind of touched on it a little bit with the playmaking part. The take I have on Luka coming out of that series, specifically with the playmaking, is he is at this version of Luka, or at least that version of Luka. Maybe it's different, and he just magically gets his burst athleticism back after shedding some weight this offseason. But the take I had after that series, Lucas, he is not a 5-out player. Or if he is, that significantly tanks his playmaking. Because what this version of Luka, not 2020, because I know the immediate reaction is going to be, well, those Dallas teams with KP were pretty 5-out. So like 2019, 2020. The biggest difference is this version of Luka to get downhill. Okay, cool. Like, we're just going to shut off everything else and go score over 6'6" athletic wing, right?
Right.
This version of Luka, to unlock the elite all-time great level of playmaking, he needs that vertical lob threat, because that's where Luka is arguably the best ever at manipulating the tagger, manipulating that low man. Because if you don't tag on DeAndre Ayton now, or Derek Lively, or Daniel Gafford, hell, KP even in Dallas, then okay, cool. If you don't tag, that's an easy lob. If you do tag, Luka is one of the best skip passers ever, and it's Austin Reeves wide open. Oh, it's Kyrie, or he didn't play with Clay, PJ Washington, etc. Like that current version of Luka needs that. If we're just gonna space the floor out, which is kind of why his playmaking failed against Boston, honestly. It was more of a score-heavy series for Luka against Boston because Boston had the size to switch everything and say, look, you're not getting a single damn lob off. We're switching everything. Go cook. He had 5 assists per game in that series. He had like 6 assists per game against Minnesota. This one was more so because they had no vertical lob threat at all, or they at least get punished switching. Deandre could do that. So that'll be exciting. I am excited a little bit about Ayton.
And that's what like really spoke to me the most because I felt like this year's Luka had so much going on with, I would say, the mental side, but also like in terms of him consistently getting by his guy without a screen and like consistently converting once he got there. That's not the same Luka that I am accustomed to seeing. That's not the same one that I would say was like a top 3 player for the most part, right? So to me, a lot of that is going to have to come back into this next upcoming year. Obviously, it's the off season, so we're going to see things like, okay, he's in his best shape. He don't want to do this, but we don't know until we actually see what happens. But I think in that entire series, that's exactly what happened. He's a great skip passer, but if there's no advantage being created, if they're not helping and they're saying, okay, he's going to have to convert these shots, he's going to have to make these step back threes, that kind of limits the same value he can give you. And it's also tough because if your big isn't great defensively, or if they're in foul trouble, they can't play as much offensively, which really made this be I would say, not as long playoffs as people thought it would be for the Lakers this year.
Yeah. And really quickly, just responding to the chat, Ayton can absolutely attack mismatches in on switches. He can, which is something Hayes cannot do whatsoever. And the Luka conversation is fair. Like, I think if you had any question marks, if you had any questions about Luka, or not even questions, just like reasons to like press the pause button just a little bit on Luka, I think those would be a little bit justified because we haven't seen him be at this undoubtedly top 3 player level since 2023, like right around the Kyrie trade before he got hurt. Like he was then still top 3 player. March 2024. Okay, that's fair. He's had moments for sure. But we haven't seen an extended stretch or a full season of Luka being a top 3 player in about 2 seasons now.
Yeah,
the last 2 years has been very clearly Jokic, Shea, Giannis.
I would say before he got hurt last year in the playoffs, I thought he showed some poise. Like that whole playoff run to me was far from what we expected from him. And then obviously
From
last
Luka?
year, like he was very, very good, I would say, versus the Wolves in the conference finals. But honestly, outside of that, every other playoffs, like that wasn't up to his bar. And I think he can definitely get back to it because he's still young. There's still, I would say, a better shape he can really be in. But I think that his playmaking sense is still strong. But this takes us to, obviously, the Lakers signing a bought out Deandre Ayton, which I want to say this right now, Sean. I'm gonna be honest with you. I am not an Ayton fan in any way, shape, or form. I think offensively, he's a very skilled and capable player, but the motor in terms of being like a consistent, I would say, mismatch guy and a hard ball screener, to me, he didn't show a lot of that in Portland. Now, I'm willing to give him the fair shake since this is a completely new team and he actually has a playmaker who can find him a lot more. But I'm hoping that he's able to show more of that. I'm not mad, though, because you guys were literally losing options day by day by day. So you needed to get Ayton. I thought that was overall a pretty good value signing. I mean, I think he signed a 2-year, $16 million deal, right?
16.7. Yep. Second year player option.
Yeah.
And for all those reasons, I think that again, Deandre is probably the biggest example. If you have any questions and reason to pause about Deandre, absolutely justified. And this is why he kind of put himself in his position, I think, at least, because all those questions that you're asking right now, which are completely fair and valid, do not get answered if he is still in Portland. Regardless of if Portland looks better next year, it wins 43 games, those questions don't get answered unless he gets put in a spotlight where maybe it's not even the Lakers, but X team with expectations that it wants to win. Okay, how does he look? Does the motor improve? Does the play-to-play consistency improve? Like Sean's reported the Knicks, Clippers, Bucks, Nuggets, Pacers, and Cavs. I don't know if any of those teams would have been good options because he wouldn't be starting on any of those teams. I mean, the Bucks, I guess, before they got Miles Turner, but that's not the same level of spotlight as any of those other teams or the Lakers. So now I go to the Lakers, and it's like a fork in the road. I think Jason and Tim described it the best way I've seen so far, at least.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fork in the road moment. He balls out next year, and the motor somehow just magically by playing next to Bron and Luka, it gets improved, and to the point where it's not as noticeable, the bad plays, right? The defensive activity and awareness is there consistently. He's a good lob threat next to Luka. Now he opts out of that player option next summer, and he gets a bag. He gets a bag, and he's back on a contending team, preferably in LA. And this, like, everything goes right scenario. Preferably he just stays in LA. If it goes poorly, then we're talking about a guy that's a biannual to he's still probably around this range. Like, at the very least, he's the best backup big in the NBA at worst, which is why from the Lakers perspective, even if he underwhelms this season, he is easily the best big not named AD. I think this is objective. He's the best big not named AD they've had for at least the last 5 years. Like, he clears every other non-AD big that they've had for a while. So all the questions are justified around Ayton. I think his shot selection is also, like, this is where you can see some of the soft kind of narratives about Deandre Ayton.
Mm-hmm.
Dwight Howard wasn't a starting caliber big. I think Ayton's still a starting caliber big. Whether or not he's a good starter, to be seen literally this season, but he's a starting caliber big.
I think my main issue with Ayton, again, like, I mainly base this off of like the last 2 years in terms of like how I've seen him play. To me, at a certain point, if you're going to play the 5, you have to seek a bit more physicality. He doesn't really get to the free throw line as much. And part of that could be teams didn't try to give him the ball enough to work on that. But also, like, it can't be that low to where it's like under 2 or 1 free throws a game. And I'm hoping that in this type of, I would say, current offense for the Lakers, he's able to be used more in that way. Skill-wise, I think he can be a very good play finisher on this team, but I just have to see it for me. Like, I feel like after they went to the finals that 1 year, his complete way of, I would say, going at basketball just hasn't really been the same to me. And I'm hoping that does shift, but it's $8 million. I don't think it's a bad thing for them to try out. It's $8 million. Yeah. You needed something.
Maxi Kleber is getting paid $11 million in the year of our Lord 2025. You could pay DeAndre Ayton $8 million. Jared Vanderbilt's making $11.5 million. I think you'll be just
Vanderbilt's
fine.
Eating off that too, man. That's
I think we're just fine. We're talking about $8 million. Also, wait, really quick, with Ayton, the one thing we do know he cares about is his money.
He cares about money. That's facts. Yeah.
So, like, we're talking about money. You go ball out this year, you're looking at another $100 million contract, because if he balls out, then that to some extent has to answer some of the biggest questions about Ayton.
Sure.
It almost has to. So go ball out, go answer all these questions, go get your bag that you so desperately care about, which to a certain extent, good job. You care about money. Happy for you.
I mean, I'll say this, right? I feel like after the playoffs, coming into this offseason, the Lakers absolutely were looking for another big. They got that. Unfortunately, you also lost DFS, which to me was a little bit tough in the framework of how you guys want to operate. Not having that will hurt. I also think us.
My bad. I didn't mean to start laughing. That comment was funny. My bad.
Funny comment, yeah. But I see LeBron James opt into this team, and that's why for me I look at this year so interesting, because I'm not a part of the group that says he's going to ask for a trade. I don't think that's what that means. I think he's going to opt in and play because LeBron has never asked for one. But after the season, I think there is a possibility that he does vacate the Lakers. I think that's kind of there up for grabs. And his agent saying that this team might not be equipped to be competitive right now. Where are you currently with this roster? Is it strong enough to, I would say, rival, you know, I guess maybe, how do I say this? I would say OKC, Houston. Like, is it in that range for you, or do you think they need more?
No, no. If we're going back, I've already started like my power ranking stuff. They're not in the same like category. They're not very close to OKC, Houston, or Denver for me right now. Like I will be very, very frustrated if they just which it's Rob Pelinka, so I can't not question them and pretend like it's not a possibility. But it would really piss me off if they like say, all right, we got Laravia, we got Ayton, let's go. Like, no, what the hell?
We got Laravia,
no.
we got Ayton, got it. Right.
No, this is not, we're not done. Wait, what happened? I like them bringing Hayes back, actually. I think Hayes is I think he's a fine backup. He's an awful starter, but a fine backup to, dare I say, good backup. If Ayton plays well, then you're not really relying on Hayes that much anyway, because Ayton's going to be playing 36 minutes.
Right.
So, like, I'm fine with bringing Hayes back. I like the Laravia signing in a vacuum, but not in the sense of, all right, cool, we're done. No, you're not done. I desperately think you need to go get the Gabe Vincent upgrade. He's just
you need that badly. Yeah.
He's just not a good NBA player in 2025. And then I still think their wing depth is so incomplete in terms of athleticism. And I thought it actually made sense. That Rob Pelinka story with DFS kind of pissed me off, but I do think that them not paying DFS a 4-year deal and instead using that money that they would have used to pay DFS to go get Ayton and Laravia, I do think that was the correct move. But okay, now you did that. Now you still got to go to a certain extent replace that void on the roster.
Right.
And that's where like Rob kind of annoys me. Rob's creativity as a GM is bottom 5 in the league. He is the most cookie cutter, vanilla ice cream, basic motherfucker in the entire league from a general manager standpoint. He's going to do his 2 things. He's going to call it a day. And the first time you tell Rob Pelinka to veer off and have to do like something else, instead of like the straight path, you have to go straight and then curve left and then go back straight. Right. No, Rob's like, oh no, you tell me to turn left and then go back. All right, cool. Then we're going to stop here. So whether it's getting creative and using using swaps long term, you have Luka Doncic. You have to have the mindset of we're going to lock up Luka on August 2nd or August 6th, whatever the extension deadline is, or not deadline, but whenever he's extension eligible. We're going to lock him up, and the mindset has to be we have Luka Doncic for the next 8 years plus in his prime. F those picks. Do what Denver did and trade a 2032 first-round pick to go get a player that is so incredibly better for your roster. And Cam Johnson for Denver's example. Mm-hmm. You have Rui's contract. You have Gabe's contract. You have Bando's contract. Bando's contract is in the dumpster. I doubt anybody wants it, but hell, you can package it if you need to. You have Maxi Kleber's weak-ass contract. You have so many contracts that you can stack up and combine it with certain things. Like, yeah, that's the most frustrating part. So I don't think they're close. If you want to use the example I said earlier and say, in the perfect world where they somehow make a trade at the deadline that we can't see yet, Luka is back in peak shape. His rim pressure numbers are back on top. Braun has a full year of health. Austin proves that last year wasn't a fluke. Aiden's is all-star caliber big like he was in 2022. Okay, then sure. Like, but you see how many things I had to like get correct?
There's a lot of things you got to get to. Yeah.
It's like 7 things. JJ Redick improves. We're at 5 things off rip that have to go right for your team. And I think that's the biggest thing the Lakers have failed at over the past few years is they have done such an awful job at increasing their margin of error. If one of those 5 things do not happen, the Lakers' chances go from 1% to like -%. It's done. You're cooked. So, yeah. Sorry for the rant, but yeah.
No. That was much needed to me because I do think the biggest problem with this front office is that time and time again, they have not done enough to widen that range. Margin of error is so important in the NBA. You need to have those small role players who can really impact the game at this very minuscule stretch. Like, here, right? I always have this guy, right? Brown, the year Denver won, rookie contract, performed in so many small stretches to help extend leads or keep it in range. And players like that matter the most in this new CBA. Shout out to Rob Pelinka. Like, yes, you got Luka. That's great. But a lot of people would argue that most of your biggest moves are kind of like no-brainer handed to you type of moves. I would argue now that you got the player, your
What's
real
Rob's best
job is
move as a
now.
GM? Like his real best move as a GM? Is it
Ooh.
like low key the Westbrook trade? Not trading for, but like getting rid of him? Like low key 23 deadline? Braun was magic. AD was just a gift on a platter. And even
AD
then,
was a gift. AD was a gift, yeah.
if we're going back to in the moment, a lot of people said the Lakers overpaid. So it's either a gift to Rob or he overpaid. So you don't get the win for that. And then
Yeah.
Luka, like, okay, sure, you had to pull the trigger, but like, I think everybody, I love AD. Like I said, I think he's underrated. Normally, I have the AD jersey replacing Apollo jersey, but yeah, you do that every time. Like, was gifted. Austin Reeves told every team, "I don't want to go to you. I want to be a Laker." So that's not a scouting department win. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, but that's why to me his real test now, because not like you trading for Luka is not the big move that we're going to say like, oh yeah. You building the roster supply around him is the big thing. But that's why I'm a little confused because I'm not sure how many years LeBron James has left on this roster. I think him opting in puts him in a spot where he either goes for another.
Yes, one more year left.
I kind of feel that way, don't you?
I damn near want to say 1 year left in his career, but I'm not going to go that far yet. I kind of think this is Bron's last year.
Okay.
The only thing that's kind of holding me back, you don't have to go like have a big conversation about this, but the only thing that has me kind of holding back is Bron's kind of dramatic, and there's no way you can't convince me that Bron's not doing a retirement tour.
He has to.
Announcing
He has to
beforehand.
Yeah.
The league better announce it for him. If they get any indication that Bron's hanging it up, we are making all the money off this.
I don't think there's any way that he would go into a season without saying, I'm retiring this year. I think we'll get a actual announcement. But that's why the opt-in to me is so interesting because it does leave a chance where, okay, well, I've now done my part of this contract. I can leave now. I'm just not sure if that'll be a thing. Like, it's hard because he's been here for so long now. I'm just used to him being in the purple and gold, but it's a viable thing. I don't think it's like a thing that you can't really have there. And I think the team is clearly like now it has to be built around Luka Doncic. Luka is the future of them. So to maximize the roster around anything, but that doesn't really make much sense to me right now at this current point.
You don't think he could get fed up halfway through and say F this?
I don't.
Still,
I really
still
don't
think he would announce it. But even then, like Bron halfway through, I don't think, that doesn't make much sense either. That's kind of a grimy way to look at it. Like optically,
yeah.
Can you imagine? Let's say the Lakers start off like 21-37. That's an all. I could have gone so much better than that. But 21-37, and midway through that, they're on this 8-game losing streak. You know how bad that will look at Bron in the.
You know what? I'm gone.
Losing streak just says,
right.
I'm gone. I'm out of here. F this. Like that for a guy that's media perception is already 50-50. That's kind of a bad look. And I'm not saying Bron cares necessarily, but that's kind of a bad look. I'm not going to lie. Bron just ups and quits on his team basically mid-season.
That will look awful. And I think the one thing you have to give LeBron, no matter how much you love or hate him, he is very, very calculated in terms of his media presence and his availability. He understands how to control
I took a Cavs picture today.
I'm just saying, like, and I don't know how much stock I put into him leaving them for the Cavaliers next season. I just think it's a wild card move. And I think independent of that wild card move, is the roster good enough to win with them this year? I just find it hard to have them at the top of the Western Conference as currently constructed for me.
The Lakers?
Yeah.
Who all would you have above the Lakers? I want to see where we're at.
Okay. Do we think...
see, like we're on the same page.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Do you think they're better right now than the Spurs?
Yeah, but there's a real scenario where San Antonio leaps them. But I'm gonna still give LA benefit of the doubt.
Okay. Rockets.
No,
OKC.
hell no.
Golden State.
Incomplete. They both feel really incomplete. That's tough.
They
San
both
Antonio at
they
the
both
very
feel
least
incomplete
has
to
a
me too.
roster.
Yeah.
Golden State, like I have no clue.
Okay. Are they better than the Clippers?
I actually lean no.
I lean no too. A little bit,
It's
but that
not
was
by
closer.
like a lot, but I
Yeah.
lean no.
Okay. How many teams in the East are they better than right now?
They're not better than Cleveland. They're not better than the
Are
Knicks.
they better than the Magic?
I'm gonna say yes, simply off a benefit of the doubt. Like
Okay.
Orlando, I kind of actually want to say yeah, but Orlando's done nothing to kind of give them the trust. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like Atlanta, even like I'm as high on India as Atlanta as anybody,
Yeah.
but they've not really done anything to make me go in the next year and say yes, absolutely, I trust them. They have my full back. I almost need to see a sample size, kind of like Cleveland this year. I need to see a sample
Fair.
size, not the 15-0 part, but the going into the season and actually being legit. I need a sample size from Atlanta and Orlando.
Okay. I'll name a team that, in my opinion, is one of the top 3 winners in free agency so far. Are they better than the Hawks right now?
Same situation as the Magic. I'm going to say yes because of benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Roster wise, Atlanta's roster makes more sense.
And that's my thing with the Lakers. Like, I really feel like the shooting is something that concerns me a bit more than last year. I don't think they're done. I think there's going to be more ads. Obviously, we have to wait for how the trade deadline treats the team, because almost each year they make some type of shift at the deadline to really improve their roster. Now, granted, last year it was literally in the form of a Luka Doncic, which was insane, but I'm expecting something like that as well for this team as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Notice you didn't ask about Denver or Dallas.
I did not mention those 2 teams. Dallas to me is interesting because Kyrie's not going to be healthy for the first leg. To me, that's why they signed. That's why they got D'Lo, which I think is a value pick. Fully healthy, I think Dallas is probably better than them. I think in terms of like the size.
I'm going to use the I think word too. Right now, I think like, if Kyrie is,
I got to see it,
relatively close to what he was last year. Kyrie was awesome. Like post Luka trade, he was awesome. If he's anything close to that, and Dallas, because that's the other question with Dallas. You have all these dudes that get hurt and miss 30 plus games a year. At the very least, if we're being honest, the Lakers are actually probably healthier. Like Bron's at this point is going to miss like 10 games. Austin's decently healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Luka at this point has actually had a few nagging injuries every year, but they're nagging injuries. They're not 30 plus game absences, damn near.
Yeah.
You could argue LA over Dallas, actually.
I think the answer to that question lies in how good is a rookie year flag. Like, is he really that type of guy, right?
Denver is not close. I'm not just to throw it out there. It's not close.
I think Denver's better. Bro, them trading Michael Porter Jr. was such a great move for them because it's less money. They got like, I think Cam Johnson is a better defensive player as well. It just makes sense for them. They made moves that make sense outside of the big thing, because they signed for Valanciunas, but all of a sudden he wants to go back to Greece. So now that's kind of cooked. But I think they're probably better too, honestly.
It'll be funny if the Lakers beat Denver 3 times next year. Oh yeah, that'll be hilarious. And then watch them lose in 4 games in a 4-game sweep to the
4-game sweep
in round 1.
Yeah, man. I just okay. I'm just trying to say in my head, like, what are the expectations realistically for this Laker team next year? Like, how far should they go? Where it's like, bar none, there is no, like, how far should they go in your mind?
If they don't win if they don't win a playoff season, well, not winning a title in LA is a failure anyway, but they don't win a playoff series. It's doom and gloom FC. You got to win a playoff series next year. At the very least, you can't go 3 straight first round exits. You can't go back-to-back first-round exits after acquiring Luka Doncic. And honestly, if they get bounced in the first round, they can fire Rob Pelinka. And I'm not going to lie. I could very easily see Mark Walter look for any reason to fire Rob Pelinka. Like any reason.
New
God
owner.
forbid they miss the playoffs. New owner, like he's
Yeah.
going to do things kind of his way. I'm so serious. They got to win a series at the very least. Win a series. And if you match up with one of the big three in the West, at least look competent. Like at least look like you're putting up some semblance of a fight to where you can go into the 2026 offseason and say, all right, let's go. We got our butts kicked in the second round. We lost in 6.
Right.
But there's a vision here. Okay, we don't have Bron here anymore. Ayton played well, hopefully. Let's build around Luka, Ayton, Austin. Well, you have to pay Austin next summer, too. That's actually the other problem. But let's retool things here. Let's see if we can make it back. So you got to win the series at least.
I was going to ask you this, too, because there is new ownership for the Lakers. I wasn't sure of like how much that moves fans because technically speaking, Jeanie Buss is still going to be like the figurehead, even though she's no longer like in complete ownership. I'm assuming after a couple years that's going to phase out, but does that make you feel stronger about their odds as a team now, or is that more of an unknown for you?
The ownership change?
Yeah.
It makes them a more serious franchise in terms of like top to bottom competency. Not necessarily the on-court product, not yet. You're not going to see the on-court product kind of shift for about 5 years, I think, to be honest. Because what I think the biggest thing that Mark Walter is going to do and like bring the money to invest in everything else. The Lakers are the Lakers, right? So they're going to always attract the top stars. They're always going to, have the popularity and things like that. But what the Lakers suck at on the margins is what literally it feels like every other organization that's found success over the past 5 to 10 years is good at. The money invested into the player development system, invested to the medical team, invested in to the scouting department, and not necessarily like the drafting or whatever, but in terms of identifying good role players. I think the Lakers have done an awful job at identifying good role players for the most part. Like Rui was a good find, although there's times where Rui just looks like he's not doing anything.
Yeah, that's true.
They've had some smaller finds around the margins, yeah, but their league-wise player personnel, then also their analytics. They are one of the least most invested teams in terms of. Do you know what synergy is, right?
They didn't have synergy. They were one of the only teams
they didn't have synergy.
That's okay. That's insanely cheap, by the way. Yeah.
The NBA package for synergy, like the full thing, is like $30,000, $50,000, maybe. Now, like I have synergy, and our package is like $2,000. So you could have done what I got and not get any of the advanced lineup stuff or some of the other stuff that like doesn't include like what I have.
Yeah.
For like a penny compared to you're the Lakers. How do you not have synergy? The only team in the NBA to not spend the extra $30,000 to have synergy. So I think,
which is nothing.
Which is nothing to them. So I think when you get all that stuff, you put the people in place, you put the new systems in place. That's where you'll start to see the encore product shift, because then you'll have hopefully better developed athletes because of your player development system. You have a more informed analytics group. You have a more informed player development group. You have more informed player personnel group. If you look at the entire league, the best part about the Lakers franchise or organization is their scouting department.
Yeah,
they've consistently been good scouts, but everything else has been mediocre at best.
I'm just wondering, like, at what point will that shift actually occur for the franchise? Because the fact that Jeanie Buss is still in power based on the contract makes me wonder, like, is it happening now? Is it 4 years down the line, 5 years? Like, I don't know when to, like, expect a difference around this team, because they've made a lot of moves that, would openly suggest they're kind of penny pitching. I'm assuming it's going to come to a pause now, because obviously he's one of, like, I would say the richest, owners in the league. So that helps, but that has to actually shift at some point.
$10 billion.
$10 billion is crazy.
He's got to be one of the richest owners. Yeah, I'm curious to see when the shift happens too. I'm hoping it's pretty soon though. I'm hoping it's within the next couple of years where it's full transfer of power. I'm hoping
Right.
at least.
Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna say this then, right? I have to ask this question because outside of everything that's happened in this offseason, this I would say transaction did not get talked about a ton. This is like super deep cut basketball talks here. We had a power chat earlier. Does Jake LaRavia move you in the sense of he can be a good enough basketball player to take the starting role from Hachimura? Is that like a viable
He
thing for you?
he never felt like a Rui replacement to me, to be honest.
Okay.
Like that never felt like the pitch. One, he has a completely different role than Rui, like in terms of what he's
For sure.
done, and what I think he's expected to do this season. Completely different role compared to Rui. If we're being honest, he feels more like a Dalton replacement potentially. Like if they were willing to like let go of Dalton, that's what he kind of feels like to me. He feels, yeah, like somebody puts in the chat. He feels more like a two
Or
three
three. Yeah.
that than he does like a 3-4, which is basically where Rui is. Really a 4 for the Lakers. So yeah, that's kind of my take on LaRavia. I think he's fine. I actually think he's a really good 7th, 8th, I mean, preferably 9th man in a rotation.
Right.
But again, I think the Lakers are just going to be so reliant on LaRavia to consistently provide for them, and be like their 6th man off the bench. Where I'm like, yeah, there's some concerns there, and I also think that they view LaRavia as a, all right, cool, we've addressed that need, and I'm like, yeah, no, you haven't. You can still add there, because if the plan is to use LaRavia as a backup 4, okay, so you have him and Dalton kind of being your backup wings. I mean, you have Vando, I guess. So yeah, I like LaRavia. I think it's good value, actually. I think he is a really solid player, but I don't think he's taking Rui's spot. Also, they love Rui. Organizationally, they love Rui.
They do love Rui. So like I felt like I had to ask that because for me, this team is in a spot where we both agree like they're not complete. And I'm just wondering like what moves are out there for them to be complete. Like, are you high on the proposed Heat trade where you guys can get Andrew Wiggins, but there's actual first round pick value that has to be traded, or are you not trying to do something like that? Like that to me is something that, on paper should complete them, but maybe it doesn't.
The only thing about the Wiggins trade is I think it's Rui, DK, and I think they want a first. Like that seems a lot like a lot. But then if you also, and you talk about a guy who can't stay healthy. If you were to do that, and then you got Melton, and now your off season's Melton, LaRavia, Wiggins, Ayton to add next to Luka, Austin, Braun, Hayes.
Right.
And you still have Gabe on the roster, but I mean, I've been talking for a while. Please just get rid of
Blah.
Gabe.
Yeah.
At the very least, your top 8 is top to bottom the best top 8 they've had since the title in terms of just well-roundedness and like pieces that just make sense. I think there will be a lot of value in getting Andrew Wiggins, but I don't fault them for not making that deal. And also, how long is Wiggins' contract? Because if Wiggins' contract goes in 2027, I highly doubt they do that
I
trade.
think Wiggins
Simply
has
because of
2 more
that.
years left on his deal, I believe. Let me double check real quick on Spo track here.
Okay, never mind. No, he has a option for the summer that they want to have cap space. So
Yeah. So
I
probably
think that's
not.
another reason why. I think that's another reason why they haven't pulled the trigger. The cap compensation is kind of a lot, and they want cap space in 27. So
See, this is so funny because I really wish I had like I cannot imagine what this team looks like in 2 years. Like so much can be different with like the players, I would say top to
Luka and
bottom.
Austin, and that's it.
Just
I'm
those
so
two
serious.
players?
From this team, it's going to be Luka and Austin. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody else is out,
Fair.
and they're going
Wow.
to give Austin a bag.
You think so? Because
Yeah,
he
Austin.
he turned down one contract, which I heard for next year he can make up to 247 million. And I'm like, that just sounds like a lot for Austin Reeves, man. Is he gonna get that back to you?
He's not getting that bag.
Right.
Yeah, he's not getting that bag. I think a more realistic Austin Reeves contract is like 4 for 125.
Also, Nas Reed basically, except he had 5 years on his deal. So
yeah, it's like
okay,
4 125. Last year player option. That's like 31 and a half AAV. I think that in that ballpark plus is what Austin's gonna get. Anywhere between 30 to 35, like annual average, I think is what Austin's gonna get. Anything more than that is a massive overpay. But if I'm Austin and I'm his agent Aaron Riley, there's no way I'm looking at this current guard market and saying I hate that I have to keep picking on him. But I look at what Tyler Hero, what Emmanuel quickly is making. There's no way I'm looking at that and saying, yeah, we're gonna settle and take $18 million a year. Get the F out of here. No. He's gonna get a bag next summer.
I cannot wait. I have been saying this for like 2 years now. 2026 to me is what I call NBA Ragnarok, because that's where a bunch of the big names are going to officially be free agents. That's where the official TV deals actually kick in. I feel like all of like the big time contracts are going to be dished out in 2026. So I'm interested in that, honestly.
Yeah. And then obviously the 2027 free agency class looks loaded as of right now, but like all those guys are about to get deals. Shea already signed his.
Insane bag for Shea too.
Jokic is about to sign his but when he's eligible. I think Giannis at the very least signs his deal and then get traded. Like you're missing on so much money if Giannis just walked in 2027.
Right.
So yeah, that's how I think that's gonna ultimately pan out.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I definitely want to focus on everything this team is able to do in 2026. I feel like this team specifically is one of the few teams in the Western Conference where I'm not quite sure where to rank them now. I can see a bit of a higher upside if more moves are made in season. And maybe like if you just get like a magic, like this is the Luka we've been missing for, and like he really carries his team far, maybe this team is able to exceed a lot of my personal expectations. So I think seeing that and also like monitoring just how good Ayton can be are probably the biggest things this team needs to really be like a very good team next year. So I'm excited for that at the very least.
Yeah, like right now I have them like spoiler, and this is going to change once other moves happen. Like Golden State's a great example of this.
Yeah.
Right now I have them 7th.
Okay.
What the hell was that? Oh, I have them 7th in the West right now. But there's also some room for upside, kind of like you said, like where is Luka kind of return? Is he going to return back to form next season? Yeah, there's a lot of room for this team for growth, and also if they make a move.
Yeah. So we'll make sure to keep tabs on that. Sean, please feel free to let the people know exactly where they can find you and where you do your great work at.
Yeah, you guys can follow me for Lakers specific stuff on the Los Angeles Lakers Network on YouTube, or the Sports Headlines podcast, Sports Headlines show on YouTube as well for like my in-depth preseason power ranking series covering all 30 teams. And yeah, first episode for that should drop in a couple weeks.
Cool. I'll make sure to have all of those links in the description box below. This is now the second team I've done of 30 teams in this offseason. A lot of things have been like sidetracked because we're still waiting on if there's going to be a Beal buyout or not. Apparently this KD trade is going to expand to 7 teams, which should be final by, I think, July 6th. There's still a lot going on in this offseason, so we have to definitely keep our eyes out for all that stuff, right?
Yeah, that should be the 7th team. They gas that up. That sounded so exciting.
They did gas it up. Oh, they did, yeah.
Oh, this team is added for Cavs considerations. Like the Lakers are in it for the Tiero pick from draft night, which they traded from Bro. Like, dog, this is not interesting at all.
No.
What's Golden State do with Kuminga?
I'm happy you asked that, Sean. I'm at a position where I don't even think they know. I think they went in trying to trade him and get real value back, but I don't think the offers back are really good enough. I also think they might be at a spot where teams aren't trying to fully max him out, which means they can actually bring him back on a decent deal. I still think there's a lot of questions with like his floor as a player in how Golden State likes to run offense, but he is theoretically the perfect piece that they need in terms of like a wing profile with his body. But they just really pull him very, very quickly, which lessens the value. So it's harder for me, Sean, because I've seen him have multiple stretches of very, very good basketball, and then he gets hurt or gets pulled. One of those two happens every time with him. I think they're still exploring trade partners for him, but I really can say confidently at this point, I have no idea what's going to officially happen. But we'll definitely find out in the next, I would say, 8 days or something like that, because they have to make a choice about it very soon.
Warriors searching for promising young player and first round pick.
Yes.
You tanked his value when you benched him in the playoffs.
And you see my problem with that, right? Pick? Yes. They tanked his value in the playoffs, and then when they needed him, they played him, and then he played well. But they literally did not give him the chance, which kind of bothers me about this team. Like I was saying, for the entire Houston Rockets series, regardless of how ugly it looks, you have to play him early in the series or you can't play him at all. And that extends to the second round of the playoffs as well. So I don't know what they do. It's going to be very intriguing, but I'll tell you one thing. If the report that the Sacramento Kings are prepared to send us Dario Saric, if Dario Saric ends up on my team, Sean, I will crash out. I guarantee you I will crash out.
Was that your tweet I saw then? I was talking about Dario Saric last night. I started dying.
That was my tweet, bro. That was my tweet. And I say this because Dario Saric is a guy that's defense was so horrible, he could not play for Denver any minutes whatsoever. I've also had him on my team. So I saw his first 3-month start, and then, I can't guard at all. I just can't play. And now that's dead cap, literally sitting on the bench. I don't want to see that again. That's the last player Golden State needs, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
There goes your first round pick gifted. Dario's a lottery player. Well, that's the cue to end this podcast. Sean, I appreciate you for coming through as well. Definitely want to keep in contact with you during the regular season. Every offseason, I do this show where I break down all 30 teams. So it's going to be fun the more and more bombs that drop. Everyone, make sure to tap in to Sean and his content. I'll put a link for all those things in the description box below. Sean, I like to end these often by saying, what's the one thing you wish for the most in the NBA next year? If it's a trade, player, or even if it's just a baseline result, what do you want to see the most happen next year?
I mean, like, this never happens, and maybe this feels like the easy answer, but like, can we get a fully healthy playoff run? Like,
yeah,
Cleveland was just ran through with injuries. Obviously the Tatum injury happens, Halliburton injury happens at the beginning of Game 7. W unselfish answer. Dame tears his Achilles rushing back from an injury. Out west, Aaron Gordon has a hamstring strain that he tries to play through in Game 7. Steph has his hamstring strain. By the way, I was having like a damn near heated debate with my AD. Maybe not heated, but I was having a back and forth with my AD about the Steph thing. I was like, do not play Steph. Unless if it is 3-2 going Game 6 a year down, all right, cool, play him. But unless it ever gets to that, you better not waste next year and injure Steph even more.
As a Warriors fan, I said, don't play Steph.
Yeah, don't play Steph.
Yeah.
No. J-Dub's playing with a torn leg. Shout out to J-Dub, by the way, man. W toughness rating there. He should get 98 toughness on 2K. Is that all the injuries in the playoffs? I feel like
Dame, Tatum,
Wemby, please have a full year of health. Oh my God, Orlando just got ran through with injuries.
They got destroyed by injuries this year for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Embiid, Philly's good if Embiid's healthy. If Embiid's doesn't see the floor for 90% of the year again, then GG's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so decent bill of health for next season, please.
Yes, I like that. So I appreciate that. We'll put that in a time capsule, and we will definitely try to revisit some of that and see how this season goes by the end. But Best Sean, I appreciate you. This is the end of the podcast. We're leaving now, but appreciate basketball. I'll leave y'all with that message. Peace out, people. Yo, Editor Gifted is in the building. That's the end of the official podcast, but I don't want to leave this part out. A couple minutes after we ended the pod, a Heat fan came up and we had some really good talks. So I'm going to transition here, but like, comment, subscribe. Peace.
What do we got to do, Sean?
To do what? To win?
What do we? No. What do we got to do?
It's a Heat fan.
To get this Wiggins deal done, Sean.
Oh.
What do we have to do?
You want to like pass me Jovic?
Pass you, Jovic. So this is where I think this is going, because it's weird to me that Miami is in conversations with the Clippers, unless it's to drive the Lakers back to the table. Is I think
Which I think it could be.
It's hard to imagine it's not, but 3-4 team structure seems realistic here. I just actually legitimately think Miami is in this for the first round pick, and if they are, I wonder, in a 4-team structure and a 3-team structure, what's coming back that would make LA do that. And I Gifted touched it. I think it's shooting. Like, if shooting's coming back
to LA
with Wiggins for LA in that deal.
Yeah.
Then it can justify the first round pick going out, but that's a lot. That's a lot to figure out with like 2 other teams.
What's the what will be the 2 other teams? Do you have any candidates?
Outside of the ones that are pitching in for Kuminga, and maybe Kuminga is also
maybe the Kings
somehow. Yeah, it's just Sacramento to me.
Yeah.
So it's a 3-team structure, and it's like, what is that for LA? Devin Carter?
I actually really like Devin Carter.
I do. I like Devin Carter too, but I don't know.
Is Keegan Murray touchable?
Is he touchable? Can you touch on Keegan Murray?
You know what I mean, though. Like, is he available for a team to get if they wanted him?
He should be. If I'm like Sacramento, I hate what Sacramento's doing. And maybe this is me being a Keegan Murray fan. Please get him the hell out of there.
It's the Bulls West, man.
Yeah. I don't know if Sacramento has any untouchables. Yeah. DeRozan's probably their untouchable.
That's wild.
That's wild.
I do feel like Keegan Murray is a buy piece, though. I don't know if he's a sell piece. Like, it would need to be a good value for them to pull the trigger.
How much value does Keegan truly have, though? I feel like a lot of Keegan's value right now has to be more so get him out of Sacramento, and like he still has a lot of upside. Maybe I'm tripping, but that's where like all of Keegan's high value around the league kind of comes from. Is he's in a crappy situation, please get him out and watch what he does. That's kind of what it feels like.
It's damn near similar to Deandre Ayton's value in a way where it's like you have things you can do positively, but you haven't really shown that consistently over these past years. This is very much so a prove a year for you in a way.
Except his is because of incompetency and not because of effort.
Right.
I don't know. I like Keegan Murray if I didn't make that clear.
Yeah, you do. And Tony, your team will be keeping Andrew Wiggins. Please and thank you.
I think look, if he's coming back for Kuminga, you should welcome that with open arms. There's a statue of Andrew Wiggins out front.
A statue of Andrew Wiggins. Oh, man.
I need you to think about the long term, the investment of just such a wholesome superstar.
See, this is how you GM right here, Sean. this is how you.
You want Kuminga?
This is what Rob Pelinka did.
Yeah.
I actually like Kuminga in Miami. I think that is like high upside. I could also see it bombing, but I think there's like real upside there.
I think the touches are there for him, and Miami's biggest thing, just like how you said, you think connect or Laravia is, a Connect replacement if they trade Connect. I think that that would be a Jaime replacement for Miami. There's so many touches that Jaime
Why didn't
gets.
you guys play Jaime like that last year? I have to go back and watch some film, but that felt random.
It's a lot of injury at the start of it, and stunted progression. Miami desperately needed spacing, and Jaime's a guy that figures out. First of all, his shot fell off a cliff. I mean, that's first, second, and third. His shot fell off a cliff. But he's a player he's a gamer, so he figures it out with touches and with run. And it's just how he's been since college. So it's just not working out here. And it won't work out here because they don't have the touches for him. I mean, it's not going to be a Jaime Jaquez central offense. And if we're picking a wing, they're picking Jovic.
Just because of Jovic's adaptability almost.
Yeah, I mean,
not even adaptability, but low maintenance
skill set
on offense.
And he's a ball handler. I mean, it's not there yet, but he is a ball handler. He has the vision to be a playmaker. No one will ever make him a point forward, but he's that kind of guy, and they're going to choose that right now with the shooting because sometimes he can be a flamethrower, and it's just it doesn't seem to really work out with Jaime. That's why I think a lot of people pitch DeRozan to Miami because he just takes up Jaime's run. And I think that would work.
Right.
But Kuminga would work fine. It's the same thing. Kuminga would be out there, but he's more of a slasher and more of a defensive pressure guy. I think that works out with KJ. And I think that works out with Jovic. It's two playmakers on the bench with him. I just don't think that's what Kuminga wants.
I got to ask you this question real quick, Tony, before we get up out of here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If I were willing to give you Jonathan Kuminga, because I saw your tweet today, you put Khalil Ware in the untouchable case.
Right.
Take that case off, man.
I got to take it off?
Yeah.
Did you notice I covered up Luka in that untouchable case?
you did cover up Luka in the untouchable. Because, I don't know. I think he has upside to fit onto Golden State's roster, but I also don't know the true value.
Ware?
Yeah. I think he's a very good player. Me personally.
No shit.
Yeah. What the fuck are we saying?
Wait, what?
I just have to introduce that as a concept. I think he's really good,
You know what would be a good player? The 6'4" freak that can shoot the ball. I think he'd be a great add to Golden State's roster.
Kuminga for Jaime Jaquez. Jesus Christ.
Y'all are bidding
Get me
on
out.
Al Horford. Yeah, where absolutely would be helpful.
Are you guys gonna get Al, you think?
I think they're losing him to Denver, to be honest with you.
Denver's gonna definitely go aggressively after him if Jonas is leaving the NBA to go back to Greece. I do think that's the thing. I also think Al Horford might want to play for Golden State because of the fit. The fit's pretty good for Al, honestly.
You guys, the plan would be to start him though, right?
They got to.
He'd probably start, but play maybe 20 minutes a game.
Loon's gone too. I mean, they've got to.
I'm happy Loon is gone. Jesus Christ, that had to happen.
No, the fact that you wrote a dissertation.
It was
Cab.
It was okay. Listen, I'm Brady Doncic, Sean. Right? So we're watching NBA free agency. When I see Kevin Looney is off my team, my instant gut reaction was to go to a AI editor and say, type a apology letter to Kevin Looney while he's leaving. Now, I didn't know that was going to be 3 paragraphs long, but I literally just copied that and I put it out. I respect everything he gave us as a franchise, but 2025 Kevin Looney had to go. I'm sorry, man. You cannot have an F shot quality and an F shot execution. You can't have both.
Of course, the Pelicans of all teams saw great value.
Incredible.
Jordan Poole and Kevin Looney reunited.
When you guys said, what do we want to happen in the NBA this year? In my head, I was like, I just want the Pelicans to keep collecting centers. More centers.
More centers instead of playing the guy they traded up 10 spots for.
Correct.
Yes. That makes sense for
the
our
Hawks
franchise.
a lottery pick next year.
2026 of all things is so crazy to me.
To see to see the Pelicans realize that they put themselves in the spot, forced to trade Zion and having to play Queen 38 minutes a game, I think is what I want out of the season. That's my end point.
Derek Queen, 38 minutes a game. Oh, brother.
I like Derek Queen. I I really
I don't
like
like him on the Pelicans,
I
but I like him.
watched a lot of him. No, I same thing. I watched a lot of him when he was playing next to Nolan and Flag at Mount Vert,
Yeah.
and it was incredible hoops he was putting up, and it never felt right with him as a second round grade in my book. But this is wild. Like going to New Orleans, all teams, is crazy.
I like the Pelicans too, but I have no idea how good they're gonna be, man. I just don't. The defense kind of concerns me.
Kinda.
A little bit, because Poole, Zion, like they're asking a lot out of Herb Jones right now for me.
You forgot about all NBA defender DeJounte Murray. Put some respect on his name. And the big 2-5.
Oh, brother, that's a lot of respect I just might not have at this point, man. I don't know.
Bro ran out of respect.
I did.
I like Misi.
I think he's a valid backup to me. So I don't know. Okay, wait. Real quick. I lost the Marvel Rivals game, yes. This did not mean that I lost by a ton in the game. It was very, very narrow. Listen, imagine hearing Luka Doncic gets traded to the Lakers of all teams while you're in overtime. It's a lot to process.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. Like I said, I had to pull over my car. Like it's just a lot going on.
I know that must have been a lot to process while you driving and you get a chance bomb like that.
I think I was up until legit 2:00. No, 5:00. I was up till 5 that morning.
I was off the day after, so like I was up literally the whole night about that.
Yeah, it's one of the things you don't really go to sleep. You just there we go, blaming the white man. That's crazy.
It's 2025. We're doing Rivals. AJ is only done with games after he knows he cannot compete with me in that game in any way, shape, or form. I've beaten him like 25 times in Rivals. 25 matches where he just got dominated. He beat me once. Okay,
congratulations. How good he is in a dead game.
See, look at this. Look at this outstanding cat, man. Lying in 4K. You were on one of the teams ever sent, and you also got dominated. Don't say huh. I have video foot. You know what? I'm sorry, Sean. This is a lot. It is 7:23 right now. I'm going to officially end the stream, but chat, we'll be back later for Love Island around 8:30. Sean, I appreciate your time. Enjoy your 4th of July. I'm officially going to end out here.
All right, thanks, man.
Peace out, y'all. Have a good one. Salute.